Welcome back to the channel. Why is my HPA tank empty so soon? What settings should I use for this HPA setup? Or this one? I get these questions a lot, so I decided to make a video about it, how I go about finding the right settings and what they affect. Stay tuned until the end, as I will show you how many shots you can expect out of a pretty small composite tank with proper timing. So, you built your first HPA replica. Congratulations! Now, it also needs proper timing settings. These will make sure you will not use more air than necessary, so you can get the most out of your air tank, but they can also influence accuracy, so you must adjust these properly. Some people will call this fine-tuning, but I would say it's a must. I have to preface this by saying that there are no universal settings, and they will differ from barrel length to barrel length, various BB weights, etc. Now that we got that out of the way, first step is to identify your system. Single solenoid engines will be easier to set up, but also give you less control for specific scenarios. Examples of single solenoid systems are the Polarstar F1, Jack, the Wolverine Inferno, the Gate Pulsar S and H, Redline N7, Backdraft Phoenix, or the Ares HEB engine. Dual solenoid systems have the drawback of being harder to set up due to more control over different values, but this is also their advantage. Examples of dual solenoid systems: the Polarstar Fusion, Polarstar F2, or the Gate Pulsar D. Once you identify the type of system you have, you can start adjusting the settings. For single solenoid systems, I'll show you what to change on a Gate Titan 2 board, but in principle, they should be the same regardless of FCU boards. First, poppet dwell or main valve time. These may have varying names on different FCUs, but basically, it controls how long air is being delivered through the nozzle. Usually, it's a low value for short barrel lightweight BB setups, and higher value for a longer barrel heavier BB setup. This is how you determine your air volume. What I like to do is adjust the regulator to 100 psi, start with the default settings, in this case 15 milliseconds, and lower them until I see a drop in power or the system stops functioning. For this Pulsar S, it's right around 3 milliseconds. When you see your system start dropping power or not feeding anymore, you can increase back up this value by 1 millisecond, adjust the power from the regulator, and you should be all set. Next setting is nozzle dwell or pause time. This defines how long the nozzle stays back to wait for a BB to be loaded by your magazine. With high performance magazines, this setting can be really low, like 6 or 8 milliseconds, but if you want to be on the safe side, 10 or even 15 will do. What I do is, I set the rate of fire as high as it can be, or as high as I want it, shoot full auto at 10 milliseconds, and if it won't feed all the BBs, I start increasing this number. Be aware that your magazines may not be able to feed at a high rate of fire, and increasing this setting won't change that. Now that we are done with single solenoid engines, we can move to dual solenoid systems. For this, I will use my F2 from Polarstar with a Gorilla FCU. The method of adjusting settings will be the same, so starting from a regulator pressure of around 100 psi, I will lower the first setting, poppet dwell, until shots have inconsistent power. Be mindful that in the Gorilla app, this value is expressed in tenths of milliseconds. The default is 99, but my F2 engine likes this setting around 50, so 5.0 milliseconds, for a 160mm barrel setup with 0.25 gram BBs. Anything below this, and it starts either shooting light, not cycling, etc. Similar to single solenoid systems, nozzle dwell determines how long the nozzle is held back to wait for a BB to be chambered. start at 15 and lower it until it will not feed reliably anymore. Then bump it back up by 2 milliseconds. This method applies to both semi and full auto, and some FCUs, like the Gorilla, allow you to set separate values for semi and full auto. Next, poppet delay. For most systems, 10 milliseconds should be plenty. Same for nozzle delay, I keep this around 8 milliseconds. Last, applied to both single and dual solenoid, is anti-stiction. This setting gives extra timing when your system has been idle to overcome static friction or a sticky valve. You need to test this yourself, so fire a few shots, wait 20 seconds, and fire another one. If you notice the second shot was lower power than the first, set timer to 20 on Gorilla boards. On Polarstar boards, this is expressed in 10-second increments, so set it to 2. If your second shot did not lose power, repeat the test at 30, 40, 50 seconds, etc. The anti-stiction pulse, or friction value, is the amount of extra timing added to overcome this friction. Set this to 10 to be on the safe side. As I said in the beginning of this video, proper settings will make sure you will not use more air than necessary, but also keep your accuracy in check. An over-volumed system will not have a consistent hop-up performance or the accuracy expected out of an HPA build. As a side note, after adjusting these settings as I explained here, from a 0.5 liter composite tank filled to 4500 psi, I get 3000 shots on my Pulsar S at 1.05 joules until the tank reaches 1000 psi. 1800 shots on my Fusion engine with gold poppet at 1.05 joule until the tank reaches 1000 psi, and 2500 shots from my F2 at 1.05 joules until the tank reaches 1000 psi. All these are short barrel setups, around 160mm. Tests were done with 0.25 gram BBs, shooting fast semi mag after mag. If you were to shoot regularly, not mag dumping continuously, you will see better numbers than this due to my tank really cooling down. Comment down below what other technical or instructional video you would like to see in the future. See you in the next video.